Say how many for that.
Like to call this meeting to order. Lonnie, would you deliver the invocation, please?
Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to gather together. Lord, we just ask you to be with the Andy Thompson family tonight as they go through their troubles. And Lord, just all the sick and afflicted people that we're hearing of, we ask you to look over them and their families. Lord, just watch over city mayor and council as we conduct business in this city. Amen.
Amen.
And pledge.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, we have with us tonight Mr. Cagle. I'm dealing with the fishing rodeo.
Yes.
I'd like to entertain a motion to change the agenda that you have before you. Let's make it an added item under A. We call it 1A. If that won't make you up too much for your minutes next month. First item on the agenda, Mr. Cagle was left off the agenda, and we would like for him to make his presentation and discuss the fishing rodeo and the events that we have planned and the dates we have it so that we'll all be on the same page. Would entertain a motion to make that a change on the agenda.
So moved.
Motion to approve the change.
Second.
Motion second, discussion. Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. That's the change. Now we entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. I just ran right through that if you would approve that. Jim, is that okay with you?
Good job.
Okay. Entertain a motion to adopt the agenda with that change.
So moved.
Got a motion to approve the entire agenda.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion. Being all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you. That would be a double negative. That means we're positive, but did it twice, I think. Minutes of the March 5th, 2018 regular meeting. Ms. Hoyle.
Monday, March 5th, 2018. Mayor Weaver called the meeting to order promptly at 6 p.m. He requested Lonnie Waters give the invocation. John Faust led the recital of the Pledge of Allegiance. Mayor Weaver asked that the agenda be reviewed and approved by council. Councilmember Tony Fountain made a motion to approve the agenda. Councilmember John Faust seconded the motion. Councilmember Sonny Proctor stated that he wanted to add an item relating to the city manager position description. Mayor Weaver stated that the agenda was too long and would not be changed. Councilmember Proctor also wanted to move item B under old business to executive session. Mayor Weaver agreed to make that change. Motion carried 3-1 with Councilmember Proctor voting against. City Clerk Lisa Hoyle read the minutes of the February 5th, 2018 regular meeting. Councilmember Sonny Proctor stated he wanted it to reflect in the minutes under item F, new business, that he asked for a closed session. Councilmember Ann Snavy made a motion to adopt the minutes with the change. Councilmember Tony Fountain seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Item A under old business. Mayor Weaver recognized Matt Bidwell with MSI benefits as well as Kevin Godfrey with Godfrey Downs to present to council group health insurance proposals. Mr. Bidwell presented a proposal from GMA with a 4.75% increase over the city's current annual premium with a $1,000 deductible, as well as a 0.84% increase with a $1,500 deductible. Mr. Bidwell, I think I got that backwards, and I'll change that. Mr. Bidwell stated that these rates would be good until December 31st, 2019, the date of renewal. Mr. Godfrey presented a partially self-funded proposal with an approximate increase of 24%. Discussion followed. Councilmember John Faust made a motion to accept Mr. Bidwell's proposal with the $1,000 deductible. Councilmember Ann Snavy seconded the motion. Discussion followed. Motion carried unanimously. Item B under old business. No action necessary as the approved group health insurance renewal will provide continued insurance for the injured police officer. Item C under old business. Mayor Weaver recognized Councilmember Sonny Proctor to give an update on the Perrow Roper Pool property. Dr. Proctor stated that there had been no meetings regarding the property since the last council meeting, but that he had met with the inspector at the property and that he felt that the property was in good condition. Item D under old business. Mayor Weaver recognized Water and Sewer Superintendent David Hall and City Manager Jim Looney to present to council the need for $30,000 for the city's engineering firm, G-Ben Turnipseed, to begin the permit process to expand the water pollution control plant and move the discharge from Polecat Creek to Long Swamp Creek. Mayor Weaver entertained a motion. Councilmember Ansonovi made a motion to approve the $30,000 for GBNRC to move forward with the permit process for the water pollution control expansion and the Long Swamp Creek discharge. Councilmember Tony Fountain seconded the motion. Discussion followed. Motion carried unanimously. Mr. Hall also presented to council the need for an additional $120,000 to pay Turnip Seed Engineering to fast track the pre-design work phase of the water pollution control plant expansion project. He stated that this money would be reimbursed from the GFA loan that will be applied for to help fund the project. Councilmember John Faust made a motion to table the decision until more information became available. Councilmember Sonny Proctor seconded the motion. The motion carried unanimously. Item E under old business. Mr. Hall and Mr. Looney stated that there had been another meeting with Polycor regarding a possible water source for the city at that location. Mr. Hall stated that Polycor was willing to work with the city to take the excess water from the quarry. He stated that EPD would determine if the water could be used. Item A under new business. Mayor Weaver recognized Finance Director Lisa Hoyle to discuss difficulties encountered obtaining financial information necessary for the Chamber's hotel motel tax audit. Ms. Hoyle stated that as of the time that the agenda was made available, there had been no information received by the auditor from the Chamber. She also stated that the Chamber's accountant had not returned phone calls to the city at all. On Thursday, March 1st, she and the mayor called the Chamber. She stated, as of today, information requested was received by the city's auditor. Councilmember Proctor stated that the Chamber had been cooperative and that he did not understand why it was necessary an elected official was participating in an audit and not the city manager. Mayor Weaver asked Councilmember Proctor, was he acting as a council member or as chairman of the Chamber? Councilmember Proctor stated that he guessed he was acting as Chamber. Mayor Weaver stated that the city needed cooperation in order to complete the audit. Councilmember Proctor stated that he would make sure the council member that the Chamber would fully cooperate. No action necessary. Item B under new business. Mayor Weaver recognized Mike Benson, Gary Copeland, and Jerry Netbatal of the Economic Development Council. Mayor Weaver stated that there have been some misunderstandings about the EDC's efforts to let Mr. Netbatal go as the Economic Development Director. Mike Benson explained to council how the EDC was formed and stated that an 8-member board was formed through the efforts of Sanford Chandler, the Soule County Commissioner, the Jasper City Mayor, the Jasper Development Authority, and the Pickens County Development Authority. They formed an 8-member board in 2008, established funding for an economic development director through the city and the county. He stated that the board then searched for and hired Mr. Netbatal. He stated that in the past, when the economy went stagnant, he had worked closely with Mr. Netbatal and that Mr. Netbatal had worked very hard and had done a good job. He stated that in the prior year that the EDC had developed some criteria to measure and evaluate Mr. Netbatal's performance, and during the evaluation process had decided to go in a different direction by letting Mr. Netbatal go as Economic Development Director. Mayor Weaver then asked Mr. Denson to explain to council about what happened about a year and a half ago when the Chamber approached the EDC regarding Mr. Netbatal's having been hired as the Chamber's Executive Director, in addition to already serving as the Economic Development Director. Mr. Denson stated that at that time the EDC was approached by the Chamber and asked, because there was a void in the Chamber of Commerce Director position, if Mr. Netbatal could continue serving as Economic Development and as Chamber Director. Mr. Denson stated that the EDC had approved the dual role. Mayor Weaver asked how the dual role position would be paid. Mr. Denson stated that the EDC Director position would be funded by the city and the county. The county would pay $56,000 annually and the city would pay approximately $16,000. The remainder of the salary for the dual role position would come from the Chamber. Mayor Weaver then asked Mr. Denson if the EDC had gotten permission for that decision from the county or the city to allow the dual role position. Mr. Denson stated no. Mayor Weaver then asked Mr. Denson to read the bylaws that gave the EDC the authority to dismiss Mr. Netbatal. Mr. Denson then read the following section of the EDC's bylaws. Section 104, powers. The Economic Development Council shall have the following powers and duties: all authority, powers, and duties to do what is necessary, proper, and convenient to carry out its purpose as stated herein. Number 2, provide guidance to the Community Economic Development Director in the implementation of all initiatives necessary to carry out the purpose of the council as stated herein. Number 3, the chairman of the EDC provides the direct supervision for the Community Economic Development Director. Number 4, the Pickens County Chamber of Commerce provides office space for the community economic developer and facilities for the council board meetings. Number 5, the Pickens County Government, City of Jasper, Pickens County Development Authority, and Jasper Development Authority provide financial support for the council and activities of the Community Economic Development Director. Mayor Weaver asked Mr. Denson that after reading the EDC powers section of the bylaws, what makes you think that the EDC has a right to hire or dismiss? Councilmember Jonah asked to be recognized. He asked Mr. Denson what are the duties of the EDC. Mayor Weaver stated that the EDC hires the economic developer. Mr. Neckvital stated that was not accurate, that it was the Chamber of Commerce who was directed by a citizens group to assist in that hiring decision. He states these bylaws were written after he was hired by the Chamber. The EDC did not exist at the time of his hiring. Mayor Weaver asked Mr. Neckvital, how do you feel that the EDC can replace you? Who is your boss? Mr. Neckvital stated that the original bylaws were altered without resolution by the city and county. Mayor Weaver asked, is the city going to continue to fund the chamber with taxpayer dollars? Mr. Denson stated that he believed the EDC had power to fire Mr. Neckvital. Mr. Neckvital reads the purpose of the EDC, which states that it is their responsibility to assist. Councilmember Sonny Proctor stated that he felt this should have been a group decision. Tony Fountain asked, did I, as a member of the Jasper City Council, hire the economic developer? He also asked if the position is vacant. Gary Copeland stated that in his opinion the position was vacant. He stated that they had given Jerry the opportunity to draw up his own scorecard. Councilmember Fountain stated that the city council should not have to make the decision, it should be up to the EDC. Gary Copeland stated that in his opinion that the record of the economic developer was pitiful. Jerry Neckvital defended his record. Mayor Weaver entertained a motion. Councilmember Fountain made a motion that the city stop the funding of the Economic Development Council in its efforts in supporting the economic developer. There was no second to the motion. Motion fell for lack of second. Mayor Weaver stated to Jerry that he was impossible to fire. Mayor Weaver asked if there was another motion. No motion was made. Mayor Weaver stated that he deeply believed that we need to separate the chamber, which represents the businesses of the community, and the council, which represents the government, which represents everyone, including the little lady that lives on Piney Ridge. He also stated that he deeply believes we should not be intermingling funds with the chamber because the city council has its duties and responsibilities to the citizens of Jasper, and he wants all of this to be out in the open for the taxpayers to see. Item C under new business. Mayor Weaver recognized Carrie Rowland of the Chamber of Commerce to present to council its plans to have events in downtown Jasper every first Saturday from May to October. She stated that the events would be called Saturday Social in the Mountains and would have a different theme each month. She stated that this would require North and South Main Streets to close. She also stated that the Chamber would like to use the city's stage for these events. She stated that the Chamber would pay for required off-duty police officers. Councilmember John Faust made a motion to allow the Chamber to hold these downtown events. Councilmember Tony Fountain seconded the motion. Discussion followed. Motion carried by unanimous vote. Item D under new business. Mayor Weaver recognized David Hall and Jim Looney to present to council the need to replace the gas-powered emergency generator at the Cove well with the diesel-powered generator. He stated that the gas-powered generator did not have enough power to operate both pumps at the well. He stated that Well Electrical had offered to trade the generator out for the diesel generator for an additional $14,790. He stated that the city was trying to get additional funding as well as an extension of the FEMA grant at this time, but that it was not guaranteed. Mayor Weaver entertained a motion. Councilmember John Faust made a motion to approve the additional funds to replace the generator. Councilmember Anson seconded the motion. Motion passed unanimously. Item E under new business. Mr. Hall stated that the pump near Shiloh Baptist Church required a rebuild. He stated that the cost would be $11,900. Councilmember Anson made a motion to approve the rebuild. Councilmember John Faust seconded the motion. Motion passed unanimously. Item F under new business. Mr. Hall stated that recent water tank inspections had indicated that the city had 3 tanks cleaned out at a cost of $3,800 each. He stated that Lily Circle, Industrial Boulevard, and Woodbridge tanks needed cleaning this year. Councilmember Anson made a motion to approve the cleaning of the tanks at a cost not to exceed $3,800 each. Councilmember Sonny Proctor seconded the motion. Motion passed unanimously. Item G under new business. Mr. Hall presented to council 2 quotes for water loss protection services for the city. He stated that the first quote was from Watts at $54,000. and the second quote from Match Point came in at $45,567. He stated that the city's engineer had highly recommended both companies. He stated that the city had budgeted $100,000 through prior year fund balance. Councilmember Ann Snavy made a motion to approve the low bid from Match Point at $45,567. Councilmember John Faust seconded the motion. Motion passed unanimously. Item H under new business. Planning and Zoning Director Sonny Underwood presented the Jasper Planning Commission report. Mr. Underwood stated that he was presenting the report for Robert Walker, Chairman of the Planning Commission. Mr. Underwood stated that on February 26, 2018, the Planning Commission heard a request for the annexation of parcel 030D085 of 2.69 acres to be annexed into the city limits. Mr. Underwood informed the council that the Planning Commission had recommended to approve the annexation of this parcel owned by Johnny Greenway located at 1356 Old Philadelphia Road as C2 General Commercial Property. Mr. Underwood stated that the property owners had completed all required advertising, signage, and public notices. Councilmember Sonny Proctor made a motion to annex map and parcel number 030D085 into the city limits. Councilmember Ann Snavy seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Item I under new business. Mayor Weaver recognized City Manager Jim Looney to present for council's approval a pay rate increase for all employees of 3%. Mr. Looney stated that this increase had been approved in the budget for 2018, but postponed depending on how much the city's group health insurance increased. He stated that since the insurance increased less than the budgeted amount, he is asking for approval of the pay increase to take effect as of the beginning of 2018. Councilmember John Faust made a motion to approve the 3% pay increase for the entire year. Councilmember Ann Snavy seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Item J under new business. Mr. Looney stated that more research was required by the city's attorney on our alcohol beverage ordinance being amended to include breweries and possibly wineries. No action taken. Item K under new business. Mr. Looney presented 3 areas of stormwater structures requiring repair. He stated that the cost of repairs alone could be $20,000 and more if an engineer was hired. He stated that more research was necessary in order to make a decision. No action taken. Item L under new business. Mr. Looney stated that council needed to make a decision on how to proceed with the Appalachian Trail project. Discussion followed. No decision could be reached by council. No action taken. Item M under new business. Mr. Looney stated that he recommended that the sick leave policy be changed to allow that it require 3 consecutive days or 3 days out in 1 quarter before a doctor's excuse was required. He stated that presently a doctor's excuse is required for 1 day sick leave. Councilmember Ann Snavy made a motion to change the policy to 3 days. Councilmember John Faust seconded the motion. Discussion followed. Councilmember Ann Snavy recalled her motion. No action taken. Item N under new business. Mr. Looney asked council for a decision to keep or do away with the GPS software system that the city uses to track vehicles and equipment. Councilmember Ann Snavy made a motion to do away with the software. Councilmember John Faust seconded the motion. Motion passed by 3 votes. Councilmember Tony Fountain voted against. Item O under new business. Mr. Looney asked for council's approval to sell some scrap metal located at City Hall. Councilmember Tony Fountain made a motion to approve the sale. Councilmember John Faust seconded the motion. Motion passed unanimously. Finance Director Lisa Hoyle gave a financial report for the month of February 2018. Lonnie Waters updated council on roads. Chief Greg Lovell gave a report of police activities for the month of February 2018. Chief Steve Roper gave a report of fire activities for the month of February 2018. Councilmember John Faust gave an update on JYSA activities. Being no other business to come before council, Mayor Weaver asked for a motion to adjourn. Councilmember Tony Fountain made a motion to adjourn the meeting. Council is scheduled to convene next at the regular council meeting to be held April 2nd, 2018.
Entertain a motion.
I make a motion we accept the minutes as read.
Motion to approve the minutes as read.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion. Being none, all in favor, vote show of hands. Thank you, council. Unanimous. Okay. First item, stormwater, Mr. Luke.
Would you gonna do the Cove.
Oh, no, that's gonna be our first item under new business.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Council, at our last meeting, we talked about 3 areas where stormwater handling needed to be improved. If you remember, one was behind Pritchard's Plaza, area behind the Speed Burger. Another one underneath Elizabeth Street, and then a third on Jacobs Point. I had estimated the materials to cost about $20,000. We would be doing the labor ourselves. At the last meeting, I did mention that particularly the one on Jacobs Point, I would have a lot more comfort in doing that. It is very close to some property not belonging to the city. Much more comfortable doing that work if we had an engineer look at it and give us some suggestions on how to handle it. This is a structure of air that the city put in 2006, I believe, and is starting to fail. So I'm asking for $20,000 and some money for engineering to complete these projects.
Question, council?
What do you think the cost of this year? You said 20 for material and then
20 for materials. It would be our labor, and I, don't have a good feel for that, John.
How about the cost on the engineer?
I have not talked to an engineer about that yet. It could, if I was going to give an estimate, I would say $5,000. 20%. Said really 25%.
Motion? Discussion?
I make a motion that we approve the $20,000 and spend no more than $5,000 for the engineer.
Or will we be able to determine if 5,000 will cover the engineer or not? If we put the stipulation on that not spend any more than 5,000?
If it does, then I'll come back to council with a better figure. I won't spend over 5. If it comes in less than that or 5, I'll move on.
I want to make sure that
That would cover.
the 5,000 will cover if you felt like we needed the
I,
engineer.
I'm comfortable with it now, and if it won't do it, I will come back to the council.
Any other discussion?
Just a second.
I didn't get a second yet. Got a motion?
A second.
That's all. Somebody said second. Somebody- Who did?
Yes.
I did this time.
Got a motion and a second. Okay,
Yes, sir.
any other discussion? Get me way late. Any other discussion? One thing, what engineer are you looking at?
I will call in.
All right. Look like more than 5,000, just for phone call.
Just for the phone call.
Any other discussion? Being that all in favor, vote by show of hand. Thank you, council. Appalachian Trail project, Jim?
Last meeting, we talked about the DOT giving Lonnie information that they would be starting on what we call big project. That would include the area around Appalachian Trail. Last year, work was started on Appalachian Trail to upgrade it to a standard that we had hoped the state would put into their plan. That has not happened. We are getting ready to bid projects, paving projects tomorrow, advertise them tomorrow. I would like to have permission to add Appalachian Trail onto that project, putting it back at the standard that it was before, including some guardrails. Not upgrading it to the state standards that probably will not be included in the state project.
Just paving our property that we have in place.
Yes.
Stormwater issue, did you look at that?
You were going to give me some information on stormwater. We will do that
It's got a couple different options, but did they give you a cost of that?
No, I.
You're gonna add it to,
You and I
add
had
it
talked
to
about it.
motion to add Appalachian, I'm sorry, that motion to add Appalachian, circle or court,
Trail.
trail, to the paving bid list, correct? Need a motion?
Yes.
Got a motion
So
and,
moved.
need a second? Got a motion and a second, discussion?
So at this stage in the game, this is the least expensive option that we have, yeah, that you think
Yes.
reasonable.
Definitely.
This property is contiguous with 3 or 4 different property owners. The road the proposal for the DOT looks like it's going through the middle of the property. And this will be a great access road off of that road to serve those other properties, being that our property is the land between those other properties and with the DOT. And hopefully the DOT will come to their senses when they see the best route would be able to tie it directly into the industrial boulevard, but I'm not going to try to engineer it for them and try to stop the project. The reason Lonnie asked me, what are we going to do about this, this, and this, and every time the DOT gets close, you don't want to try to do a change order. You do a change order, it knocks it back 5 years, and not even take it off the to-do list. So in order to not argue about the Appalachian Court, to save the project and keep the DOT from giving them a reason for stopping the project. Just a little update there. Any other discussion? All in favor, up a show of hands. Thank you, council. That's unanimous. You have a question, Tony? I'm sorry.
Next item we have is the sick leave policy. which
Let
is
me
in
go
your-
through my agenda, Jim. I'm trying to catch up with you. Item C.
Next item is sick leave policy. It was presented at our work session Thursday night. I'd like to have council's approval of the new sick leave policy.
For the record, let's talk a little bit about it so we'll know for the minutes and for the prosperity what we've got. Even though we heard it been discussed in last month and discussed in the workshop. You got the game on paper language.
When we talked 45 minutes, we didn't think of 20 minutes in reading of the minutes.
You're asking for a change.
Yeah, and I'm looking for the policy. Is it not in the,
I got mine.
is it not
I
in the
didn't have a
package?
I never got a copy of it, so I didn't put it in there.
You don't have to read it, just do the highlights. For the record. We'll make this be a copy for other minutes, if we will, once it's submitted.
The sick leave policy is for regular, full-time employees and introductory employees. The current, this is not a change. They accrue sick leave 1.85 hours per week, which is equivalent to 8 hours per month. Sick leave can be used when you're ill or injured. It can also be used in cases of injury or to your children, parent or spouse, injury or illness. If the employee an employee may be required to provide medical certification by a physician for any sick leave taken if A, the absence is frequent or habitual and the employee has prior notice that medical certification is required, or absences are in excess of 2 days, or an employee who becomes ill while on vacation may, upon presentation of medical certification by a physician, be granted sick leave for the period of illness stated in the medical certification. That is the area where the change.
The other change is not made, but will be required on those days.
I'm sorry, now.
On the last revision, it was not maybe required, they will be required on the third day to have a,
Absence in excess of 2 day period. And you say that we're supposed to have said required?
Will be required. We had originally, but she had maybe. It's not gonna be a maybe, it's gonna be they will be required to have it on the third day.
The sentence starts off, an employee
Yes.
is required, not
Yes.
maybe. So it is in the first sentence.
Okay.
That's where the changes are. Currently, employees were going to doctors on any absence, any medical leave absence, 1 day. This is extending that period to anything over 2 days.
It wasn't one time, as you said, but within the last 2 or 3 years, in order to accommodate the employees who were sick, woke up with sore throat, or could not come to work, they could call in to their supervisor, and the supervisor could either give them permission or call the mayor's office for approval. But there was wiggle there. It was not just go to the doctor, whatever.
And I think this is putting it into the policy manual rather than.
Well, that was a memo sent out to that point. But
This is updating the policy if approved.
just again, to close this out, this policy was put in place with 25, maybe less than 30 employees, and 3 employees could have been out sick on a Friday and you didn't get much work done. There was reasoning behind the madness as far as the policy for sick leave, requiring you to be sick, not take it as vacation. And that was always the position that I had. Sick leave is sick leave, not vacation. And that would help keep the tax dollars down just a little bit. So but this is a pretty liberal sick leave policy, but we'll see how it works. Entertain a motion. Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion that we approve the sick leave, new sick leave
Have a
policy.
motion, second.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Item D. Mr. Proctor.
Perrow property. Some developments, I'm currently in the process of getting estimates, not bids, to look at the foundation. There were some cracks in the foundation on the original inspection, so I'm trying to arrange 2 different people to come and look at that, and all this will be done gratis. Also going to look at estimates, not bids, to look at the roof, although thus far I've not found where the leak is coming from. And then we have also, I've been in contact with the architect who's looking at possibly developing the property again. This is at least the developmental stuff being done gratis. And he has not yet given me the, what he calls the straw budget to kind of move forward.
What's the plan for the building itself?
So I would like to see us salvage the building because of its historical significance. And then depending on what we decide to do with that green space in the big plan, we could possibly decide on how that would be used specifically, whether it be, I mean, there are just a lot of different things that could possibly.
The original intent and discussion of that was restrooms. What's happened to that plan?
Well, it's fallen by the wayside, not to say that we can't circle back around to it. At one point in time, when the committee was meeting prior before I took over, I think the maintenance issues on the potential restrooms was a
Who is your partner in crime? Was it Jim? Were you on the committee, the original committee?
He was he made it a committee of 1, which has been a little bit stressful here lately.
That's not a committee.
I know that.
That's a king.
I'm just quoting the mayor.
Okay.
But I'd love to have another member. We also have citizens involved as well, so.
I'm kind of curious because the original purchase of the property was for bathrooms, and that was the big demand for Main Street. As mayor for 20 years, what are we going to do about bathrooms? And all of a sudden, we're not discussing bathrooms anymore. So, could you put that back into the plan somehow? So
Bathrooms?
a little.
Be sure that whatever use we find for the building will have bathrooms.
Well, we need bathrooms in the area, and that's kind of was the reason we purchased the property. It's the reason I brought it to the council, and I think convinced the council in the debate we need bathrooms. We're going to convert those to bathrooms immediately, and that's been nearly a year.
Still over a year, actually.
After
Been
GMA.
over here?
Yeah,
It's like it's spring last year we bought it.
I wasn't on the council when that decision was made, but so.
We started plans for it after
I
GMA.
felt like Twilight Zone. I swear it's like just yesterday we bought all of us. Okay, anyway, so really no report except you're moving forward.
Yes, sir.
First item under new business, resolution of economic development funding, Mr. Looney.
I'll do the code. Fishing.
Efficient.
Let's let them go.
I made a note. Walt, you want to come up and talk to the council, please? Walt and,
Keith.
okay. Both of you, if you will, tell us a little bit about the activities, the dates, the time. It's almost a sure thing we're going to approve you. We'd like to get everyone up to speed, what's going on.
Okay, this is, according to the DNR, one of the longest running events of its type in the state. Of course, we work hand in hand with DNR, because that's where I was.
How many years have you got already?
We know it's been over 25 years. It started out in Penalty Creek, and then we moved it over to Cove Creek. And,
About 15 years ago, 10, 12, 15 years ago.
yeah, about 15, because I've been part of it for 12 years, and it was already at Cove Creek then. But, we set the creek up on Wednesday, prepared the creek.
What date?
That'll be,
Right.
the 9th. That'll be May the 9th, Wednesday.
Okay, go, I'm sorry.
All right, and that setup day, of course, I get the assistance of the county sheriff's department to help us put wire in the creek to separate the fish, and Lonnie goes down and does all the yard work for us, and make sure it's.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Uh,
I've never seen him on a bush hog.
well, he supervises.
No, he doesn't.
He works hard.
He'll take that credit if you don't blame him. Okay.
He might do it this
He
year.
sets a tent up.
He might do it.
Go ahead.
But then we have.
Let me tell you a story. You know, he got himself killed last year. We're down there, true story, we're down there, and Adam Howard is bush hogging with the arm next to the creek. Lonnie is on his phone. I'm watching Adam. A rock about the size of a baseball, about 85, 90 yards away, comes right, makes a little curve and goes right between us. Lonnie hadn't seen it yet. But anyway, but we will, I guess, get that cut for you. Y'all started yet, Jim?
No,
Okay.
Okay.
not in that area.
On Wednesday, we get everything prepared and set up. The DNR will bring in about 2,000 fish on Wednesday afternoon. Thursday, we have special needs kids in the county, and that's through the county and city school systems. But last year I picked up some independent, some private schools that serve the kids. And told them that most of those are small groups, but we had over 300 that showed up for the special needs event on Thursday. Then Friday is nursing homes, and my nursing homes have actually grown out of Pickens County. I've got 2 from North Cherokee that come now. And that's all the seniors. We end up with 100, 125 wheelchairs on the creek. And then, of course, Saturday is Kids Day. And it's all, the Pickens County Sports Club is a non-profit organization, and we charge nothing. Everything down there is free. We feed them hot dogs, chips, and a drink at lunch.
Do you do that on the kids' day?
On the Kids Day.
For all 3 days?
All 3 days.
What time do you start on those days?
My staff and the people that help, and I've got a lot of volunteers and got a lot of volunteers that's called, that's just citizens in the county that's gonna come help this year. And we get on the creek at 9 for Thursday and Friday. The school system provides bus service for, of course, for the special needs kids, and then for the nursing homes on Friday. And the buses usually arrive about 9:30 or 10 o'clock. And they're welcome to stay as long as they want, but usually by about 2 o'clock, they're ready to get back on the bus.
So the gun goes off around 9 o'clock?
Around 9 o'clock.
I'm sure you'll do a welcome in the Wednesday, all 3 mornings probably.
Right. And then Saturday morning is Kids Day, and that's any kid 15 years old or under. a kid that don't require a fishing license. And we run the event at 2:30, 3 o'clock on Saturday. Then we take the wire out of the creek, turn the fish back loose wild, and the DNR can open the stream back up to public fishing, as long as you have a trap stamp and a fishing license. And play by the rules, because I got plenty of game wardens down there.
And tell us a little bit about your sportsman's club and,
Okay, like I say, we're a nonprofit organization, and this is our biggest exposure to the community every year, so this is a big deal for us. And I'd like to say I appreciate the city working with us all these years. Without a place to have it, we couldn't have it, so it's very important that y'all do this.
It's a perfect fit.
It's a perfect fit. It's a great place, it's a beautiful place, and it works fine. We support the Boy Scouts, we support 4-H. We almost have a Boy Scout camp on the property up there. We have troops come in. It started just local troops, and that's beginning to grow. We've got people up there that work directly with the Boy Scouts, part of our board, part of our members.
that's your shooting club?
Right. We built an archery range. We give the front part of the property to the Boy Scouts. Of course, we couldn't have a rifle range in there anyway, but it's a nice place for them to come and camp and have events. And they earn a lot of their badges on the property. And we bought 50 acres a few years back out on the point down on the south end of the club, and we built an archery range that the scouts use, and we've got a large field at the end of that point. It's on a ridge top that they started using camps on. We give $2,000 a year to the high school for a scholarship for someone that is looking for an outdoor occupation, anything to do with the outdoors, and a wildlife biologist or just anything that puts them outdoors.
How many members do y'all have?
Right now, I don't really know. I'm more involved in the club than this fishing derby than I am in really the works of the club. I think they're at about 400 members right now, but I'm not real sure.
Well, what happened to Heist and that group? Did they abandon you? The Heist and those gentlemen that was doing it for years, did they abandon you?
Well, they're getting old like me. That's the reason I got Keith with me.
I'll be taking it over now.
Yeah, Keith will be taking it
Bless your
over.
heart. How much these guys grow old?
Yeah, and because it is in a way, it's a stressful event because it's a lot of work and a lot of things to keep up with, but it's still enjoyable. I'm gonna do it as long as I can, but I've got to the point where I need help, so the club has voted Keith in. We're kind of co-chairmans on the.
Okay, good then.
And so I'm getting his feet wet on the first steps of it.
Okay. With that, would entertain a motion, council, to approve the, beginning on May the 9th, 10th, and 11th would be the fishing rodeo at Cove Creek.
And 12.
And
12th
12th is Saturday. 9th is just setup day. We have no guests there 9th.
We'll give you that date as well. 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. We'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion to approve those dates as fishing rodeo at Cove Creek by the Pickens County Sportsman Club, and you have all powers and responsibilities thereof, working with the game and fish, I'm sure.
Sure, and that's one reason we need the proclamation, because the DNR then has the right to close the stream to the public till the event's over.
What about a vote of council? We'll call it a proclamation. Will that work?
All right, that'd be.
Okay. I have a motion, and did I get a second? Did I hear a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Got all opposed? 3-4, you vote for it?
I can't vote for it.
Would you like to share why?
I'm a member of the sports club.
Okay, that'd be a good reason. He voted against you, actually, I saw it. That'd be 3-4, 1 abstained. Thank you, sir, so much. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks for your time.
And we'll come down and have a hot dog with it.
Do that.
All right, thank you.
Now, at night, I feed the staff, so that's where the good food's at.
I might come at night.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Come in, any of the council members that want to
I'm
come.
gonna see Faustus down there with you. All right, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Item A1. Resolution for economic development funding.
Council, we discussed Thursday night, and I'll read the letter, but I have a letter and a proclamation that was sent to us by the Chamber of Commerce. It's addressed to the City of Jasper, Mayor, City Manager, council members. To it may concern. Page County Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors met today, March 29, 2018. Based on the recent events of the economic development position, the board voted to submit the below request for the city's consideration. Pickens County Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors is requesting for the city and the mayor to follow suit with the county in handling the designated economic development funds per the attached resolution. Thank you for consideration. Sincerely, Pickens County Board of Chamber of Commerce. The resolution says, whereas the Pickens County Chamber of Commerce voted in its March 29, 2018 Board of Directors meeting to hold all disbursements from the City of Jasper made to the Pickens County Chamber of Commerce for the funding of the City-County Economic Advisory Council position formerly held by Jerry Nectavall in escrow for future economic development services. And whereas a 6-month search will begin in order to fill the role of Economic Development Director. Therefore, be it resolved that the Chamber will accept said funds from the City of Jasper and will hold them in escrow pending conclusion of the above referenced search.
Motion
For
approved.
council's consideration.
Motion approved. As read.
I say we make a motion to approve as read.
Motion to approve as read. Second. Tony, that will need to come from you.
Second, I'm sorry.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I've got a question. I talked to the county attorney about this afternoon, or he called me to talk to me.
Okay.
I haven't read that resolution. Came and talked with Jim this morning, it was brought up, and we talked about it. That reading is not what the county attorney told me that they had proposed. They had proposed that the money would not be spent and would be held in escrow, and it would not, and it would contain language that it would not be used to pay Jerry Nectavall. That's exactly what the county attorney told me.
Is that not what that just said?
No, I didn't hear it. But my ears are bad too. But it was to be held in escrow until at such time as it was determined whom the governing bodies were going to be that made the appointment to either appoint somebody to conduct the search. And it would also not only be the city and the county, but maybe one representative or even the whole board of both the city and the county industrial authorities.
Well, I believe, Mr. Pickett, that I understood.
Therefore, let me read the last sentence. Therefore, be it resolved that the Chamber will accept said funds from the City of Jasper and will hold them in escrow pending conclusion of the above referenced search.
Well, that's not what it says. I mean, that's not what.
That's
That's not what I said.
Okay.
We copied the county resolution, word for word.
Well, that's not what he told me to say. I just wanted to tell you that it's
But
not
this
my
is-
decision.
Well, doesn't that say we're putting it in escrow?
It did not contain the words Jerry Nectavall. And I'm just saying what he told me.
Great, give all questions to me.
Mayor,
Okay, sorry.
I'm just repeating what the county attorney called me.
But I believe that
I didn't make contact with him. He made contact with me.
that read differently than what you just said.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you happy with that read that you?
It doesn't matter to me how it is.
Because I'm not making that decision, I'm just saying,
I know, but for the record, since there's confusion, would you read that again, Jim, please?
From the beginning, whereas the Pickens County Chamber of Commerce voted on March 29, 2018, Board of Directors meeting to hold disbursements from the City of Jasper made to the Pickens County Chamber of Commerce for the funding of the City-County Economic Advisory position, formerly held by Jerry Neckerhall in escrow for future economic development services. And whereas a 6-month search will begin in order to fill the role of economic development director. Therefore, be it resolved that the Chamber will accept said funds from the City of Jasper and will hold them in escrow pending conclusion of the above referenced search.
and who's making the search?
Well, we have an Economic Development Council presently, made up of myself, the county commissioner, the development, downtown development, and the Pickens County Development Authorities, and our appointees, and the Chamber of Commerce. So that looks like a good place to start.
You don't think it needs to be identified in any resolution
Well, I think presently tonight, if we could adopt this, that does what the Economic Development Council was wishing that would take place a month ago. And I think we've met all the requirements that we can now meet with the Economic Development Council and the Chamber and all parties involved and move forward.
Well, like I say, I don't, it's not anything to me how you do that, but still doesn't identify who knows who
Well,
that is.
this is the first step. Mr. Proctor?
Jim, is that the resolution coming from the chamber?
Yes.
Okay. So we're just resolving to hold the money and not spend it. That's all we're resolving to do. I think it's to be.
Well, I understood that part of it too.
It's to be determined, I think, how and the search will be conducted. And the gold standard is actually for the combination of the things that the mayor mentioned. The city, the county, and the development authorities, including the chamber, to conduct the study and ultimately make the decision on who the next director would be.
Well, I understood the purpose of the resolution was to keep the money flowing.
No, that's not the case.
Keep it in escrow, and it'd be, and I'm presuming it'd be in the same account with the counties, and and it will be restricted. There's no way we'll be able to access it without engaging the people that have the oversight of it. We wouldn't go in.
Well, I know, see, that's the problem I've got.
Which part?
I mean, it's not identifying who is gonna be the person or entity that can access the funds.
Well, in escrow, the money's still the counties and still the cities.
Yeah, but, just telling you what the county attorney told me,
Right.
and it was gonna have some kind of, I don't think you tell me a lie.
Did the county attorney have a copy of this resolution?
He had his.
Okay. Well, I went to the county meeting, and I think Mr. Looney was there as well. And they were specific in their action without a resolution such as this, because their action came from the government themselves of 3 commissioners. And I think this is a spin-off coming from the action of the commission.
So the county required the chamber to do a resolution, and that's a copy of it with the city's name on it.
So with that, I believe as of the first day of April, which was yesterday, all the monies from this point forward that the city sent the chamber, which is $16,000 a year, $1,600 a month, I believe.
$1,600 a year.
$1,600 a year.
$1,600 a year.
16,200, yes, divide that between. That will go, but as of yesterday, the money will go into an escrow account at the Chamber of Commerce, and we will begin a search for an economic developer that will satisfy our needs.
And if it's the same, why did it need to be a redraft why not use the county?
Well, this action came from the Chamber. I'm following you.
No. Bill, the resolution was from the chamber to the county. That was a requirement for them to continue to escrow the money.
But they prepared one also.
Right. No,
Somebody must have rejected it.
No, we didn't reject anything. We signed it Friday in our meeting and their witnesses
The
here to
the
testify.
resolution that the county prepared.
Yes. I signed it
So
myself.
that one's signed.
No, it's not signed.
Well,
I'll get it signed.
it's signed by the
Tomorrow.
directors of the Chamber of Commerce.
We didn't want to sign it
But it's
until,
not signed by the county.
we didn't want to, no, it's
This
not.
is city, but not the county.
I'll know.
There's a
Yeah.
separate resolution for the county is what I know of.
We signed theirs.
Well, let me see if I can clarify this before we do the final vote. This is a resolution from the Pickens County Chamber of Commerce with no one person's signature, right?
The resolution, the letter has no one's signature. The resolution would be signed by Dr. Proctor.
But I saw one that says from the Chamber of
That's
Commerce.
the letter, the cover letter.
Okay.
The-
This is not signed yet.
This is, the resolution would be signed by Dr. Proctor and A.G.
All
Jones.
right, I got you now, 'cause I'm still looking at the one that says from the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah,
And
that's the cover.
We didn't want to resolve to do that until the city had kind of approved
Okay.
that they were willing to do that.
Well, what we've got is a resolution just read from the Chamber of Commerce that says all monies from the city of Jasper going to the Chamber for Economic Development will go into escrow so that we can make an effort to save the Economic Development Council and our efforts for economic development. Did I get a motion before we went into discussion?
And a second.
And a second. Any further discussion? Now, I've got two members of the Chamber of Commerce sitting here on the board. Do you feel you need to recuse yourself for this before we vote on it? I think for the,
Identify that there's a potential conflict of interest. However, and I'm not saying I will or I won't until I give you this explanation. This is a welcome burden of the Chamber. None of this money is intermingled with any of the operations of the Chamber of Commerce. As a matter of fact, we provide an office, we provide computers, office supplies, even paid some of the economic development directors' taxes. So this is our willingness to try to make this the way it should be, has been since it was started. So none of this money has ever been, to my knowledge, as long as I've been on the board, used for anything other than paying Jerry and him using it what he needed for his part portion of his responsibilities.
well, if John can recuse himself from the sportsman's club, I think it's a good idea to recuse yourself.
I understand.
Okay,
I do want the members to know that Robert's rules don't require me to, you can't take my vote away. I can only do it voluntarily. And having said that, in the effort of collaboration, I'm recusing myself. Okay?
go ahead and vote if you want to. Anything? I think a direct conflict could get you in a lot of trouble, and I'm trying to keep you out of that.
I just said I recuse myself.
I just want to clarify my position for you.
I have no monetary interest in the Chamber of Commerce.
Well, you're awfully interested in the Chamber of Commerce, and sometimes that can conflict with the needs of this city, so.
No, sir.
Sure it can,
It will
sure
not.
it can.
It will not.
But it could.
It will not.
I assure you it won't. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. That's 2-4, that will be a majority since we're two recused. Thank you, Jim.
2C,
2C.
are you ready for
I will
2C?
give me a second.
B, I'm on B.
I think we got a B. You gotta go to B.
Okay, let's do that.
Downtown lighting.
At our Thursday night work session, we had a presentation on downtown lighting. I would like to suggest that I work with possibly the mayor and a council member in coming up with a recommendation on how we proceed with the lighting project.
There's no action necessary. Anyone who has questions on what's going on with downtown lighting can refer back to No Pickens and last Thursday's meeting. I guess that would be the best way to explain it. We don't want to do that again, do we?
Ann has shown an interest in being on that committee. The mayor would like to participate in that. There would be 3 of us that could come before the council at the next meeting.
Our other person will be Jackie. Who'd you have?
Myself and you and Ann will make a recommendation to council.
Sounds good to me. Okay, let's move forward with the next item.
All right.
Long table,
I
see.
have a request from Prevent Child Abuse Group to reserve South Main Street for September 8th, starting at noon until the event is completed that evening.
They've done that before, once or twice, I believe, in that location.
They have, I think they're returning to that venue after being away for 1 year.
I think they went to the airport 1 year and somewhere else, didn't they?
They went to the barn 1 year, yes.
That's not the same center, the downtown, still all those stuff, is it?
I don't think so. No, the September.
So no, that was
event-
the last Saturday.
Yeah.
We entertain a motion to approve September the 8th from, what time did you say, Jim?
Starting at noon until the event's complete that evening.
That means traffic will have to flow around South Main Street from 12 o'clock until after midnight.
Right.
Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, please,
Say that a little louder, please.
For Mr.
I can just see Greg's eyes back there. I make a motion that we close Main Street for the long table event on September the 8th at noon to the end.
Good job. Got a motion to close Main Street, South Main Street from 12 to midnight-ish, probably 11-ish, on September the 8th, 2018. Need a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Discussion? Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, Councilman. It's unanimous. Item D, Lutheran Church, Philadelphia Road.
Council, at the work session Thursday night, we discussed this as being Antioch Church Road. It is not, it is Philadelphia Church Road. You have a map of that partial in your package. Looking to approve that partial to be zoned, not to be allowed to put a church on. We don't need to change the zoning. We can put it in any of our districts, put a church in any of our districts.
It's not, Jim, it's not Philadelphia Road. It's, if I'm not mistaken, it is 515.
Crossing at.
What's that?
Appalachian Circle.
Appalachian
Circle.
Appalachian Circle. Thank you.
We still got it wrong.
Well,
the right property.
here you go. This is Philadelphia Road right
If that's the
there.
right property, I'm happy.
You got the right map.
It's right on the map, okay.
Should make Sonny do this. Okay. But with that, explain a little bit about a church and why we like to get church approval, even though we put a church
Zoning
back anywhere.
ordinance allows churches in any of our zoning districts with the approval of council.
Would entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve zoning change.
Motion to approve the church on the property pointed out by Mr. Looney. 515.
Let's say on the map.
Let's say the map, that part.
Very,
It's not Philadelphia Road. We have the church in the wrong location.
I have moved it all over the place.
I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, council. Very seldom we turn down church.
Thank you, man.
We're getting closer though. Thank you for coming this evening. Thank you. All right, Georgia Power easement, Jonah Lane.
Council, in your package, you've got a request from Georgia Power to purchase an easement on, I think it's 6 parcels that the city owns on Jonah Lane. Request your approval for mayor's signature.
You got a map of that, Jim?
It's in the package.
It's about 12 pages of
Legal
Okay, I was just confused just for a moment. Entertain a motion to approve, this is housekeeping.
it. Make a motion, we approve the easement for Georgia Power.
Motion to approve the easements for Georgia Power.
Second.
Motion second, discussion. Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, council. John abstained. He is tied with Georgia Power. Item G, Dixie Street reopening paving project. Jim?
Sell propane.
Sale of tanks.
Sale of propane tanks. I checked it too early. Sale of propane tanks located on Cove Road.
At the last meeting, council, we approved changing that pump over to a diesel power pump rather than propane. We would like to get those propane tanks moved off of the road, which means that we have to empty the fuel from them and have an offer for purchase of the tanks at $1,700 each.
Somewhat cheaper than we paid. Council, for your information and for the public's information, the efforts we put into putting those propane tanks there, that was an effort to be more user-friendly or environmentally friendly with propane versus diesel. But the propane tanks, or the generator, was just not capable of providing the service that's going to be required that a diesel engine can. Anybody who's a propane engine person, don't call it right. If you will, I'll go show you the results of one blowing up because of trying to turn the RPMs it takes to run two pumps. But with that, all the efforts we put in to put those two tanks across the road was just an effort, and it's sad that we have to replace those, but those wells during storm events are too important to us. We'll have to put less diesel there than we would like as far as fuel, but we will be able to augment the fuel during storm events. We have to do it by dog sled. That's a feeder system to our entire water system. But we'll entertain a motion to allow Mr. Looney to move forward with the sale of those tanks.
And propane.
And the propane.
So moved.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second, further discussion. Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, council, that's unanimous. Item G, Dixie Street reopening project, paving, whatever, Jim.
Council, some months ago, we approved opening up Dixie Street. I believe there was a request from the Board of Education to open that. They are changing the use of the old gymnasium. It'll be a technology area, storage, and an office space for the technology folks. Looked at the project with Lonnie, Dr. Wilson, thank you, and others from the Board of Education. They really they don't care if it's opened up or not now. We do have the street, we could open it up if we wanted to. Johnson Paving gave us an estimate of $40,000 we could add to the bid package we plan on putting out tomorrow if council's interested in doing it.
How long has this street been closed?
Since Kimsey Wood was superintendent, he came and asked the city council to donate that property to the school because of the danger to the children, and the city council accommodated, has lessened our abilities to get traffic from DB Carroll to Dixie Street. It would be nice if it were open and it was safe access to the school at that site. Mr. Wood always complained that after he did that, he couldn't get from his office to the bus shop. But that being said, I think it's something we could put off and evaluate myself. It would be nice if it was open and we could use it today. But I truly believe the pavement is still under the dirt. But but it is ours now, it was given back to us, and we're claiming it, and we'll hold on to it, and if we ever need it, that, we move forward. So what you're saying, Jim?
I am fine with that. I would like to check to see if that was ever recorded.
I think it is.
We'll find out.
I think Ricky Little did it.
Okay. All right, so we'll not add that to the package that we're turning in tomorrow.
Let's have some motion not to put that on the project because it was there, and it gives us a continuation of that property being discussed. Entertain a motion not to put Dixie Street on the reopening plan.
Make a motion not to put Dixie Street on the reopening plan at this time.
A motion?
Second.
Motion second, discussion. Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, council. That'll show us a record of that later.
Good move.
And then
J.L. White.
J.W. White road paving. J.L. White.
It's J.L. White. As a council, you may remember last fall, winter, we had a large water break on J.L. White Road. We did fill it with gravel, needs to be paved. It is an awful large area. I would like permission to go ahead and pave a partial of the road coming off of, and I didn't bring that map with me. Is it in your all's package? I'd like permission to pave J.L. White Road running beside the hospital.
Is J.L. White on the paving project?
We would put it on the project since, and would not cost much more, would not cost over what we had planned on the budget because we're not doing Appalachian Trail to the extent we are.
Okay. Motion to add J.L. White on the paving project, on the paving bid.
I make a motion we add J.L. White paving to the bid package.
Okay.
Second.
Motion, second, discussion. Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, council. That's if the bid comes in when we can afford it.
That is always a concern. Council, I'm sorry, that's all I have.
Stay with me. Item H, item I was brought before the workshop the other evening. You recall the gentleman's name?
Chris,
Okay.
Chris.
He came, they're looking to purchase the,
Chris Cove.
yes, he is. We're looking to purchase the Miller building, better known as the Miller Law Office, 1 South Main Street. And all the uses for the property, from a gathering place to coffee shop, etc., all this meets the requirements of the Central Business District, which we discussed at the workshop. The only item that he continued to use was they would have church service there, even though it would not be formally referred to as a church.
Nor owned by the church.
Nor owned by the church, but he wanted to feel comfortable that they could have church services there. And of course, our biggest concern, not with churches, but the fact that the church does affect our alcohol ordinances, and we do have some leeway from past legislation before the council that protects the Central Business District. But I think it would be well to mention we would like for them to have church services there, as long as they don't ask us to bend our alcohol use for Main Street. And he seemed to think that was not going to be a problem. He kind of felt good about the possibility of being able to provide church among the, I'm not going to go there, among the people who like to drink alcohol. He did kind of indicate that, Jim. You remember that? You recall that?
Yes.
I think I specifically asked him that. But with that being said, I would like for the council to give them a feeling of support And the fact that we recognize there's gonna be church services in that building, would entertain a motion that that is well and good. Would entertain a motion. But not a church, a gathering place.
And a coffee shop.
And with that, they'll purchase this property for X amount and put X2 in it. It's gonna be a very nice property on Main Street. Otherwise, we'll be demoing that property in about 5 years. And that would be a terrible sight. So, hopefully that won't be the case. So did I get a motion?
Yes.
I got a motion?
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion? Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, council. Therefore, we will recognize their little gathering church.
I think they will move on.
He said gathering.
Fellowship hall.
And he actually mentioned that it would be used for other uses besides the church.
Yes, sir.
And we need to do a coffee shop.
No, we got it. Item J, addition to bank signature cards, Lisa.
We have a need from our banks. We want to get Jim Looney put on our signature cards at the bank, and we have to have that approved in the minutes and recorded in the minutes.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion. Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, council. Item K, Mr. Underwood, approval of beer sales on street, Wingsology. Would you like to come up and make a presentation? There is a basketball game tonight.
Understand, Mr. Mayor, Council, very brief. Wingsology wants to get another one of the council's blessings on selling beer outside of his establishment up there for this. I don't know, there's some, in May, there's some, I don't know what they're gonna have, but
Cinco de Mayo.
this is a,
It is Cinco de Mayo. It's the, one of the Saturday events.
one of the Saturday things that somebody came in and got approved.
Okay.
And he wants to sell alcohol out like he has in the past at G Fest, and that requires the council to give that permission.
Okay, motion to approve, or motion, just a motion, I'll accept.
So moved.
Got a motion, was that to approve?
Yes.
And Staley made a motion to approve the sale of alcohol outside of Wingsology.
Absolutely.
Is it second?
Second.
Motion is second, discussion? That's seconded by Mr. Proctor. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, council. Item L, request for approval to continue alcohol license.
Mr. Imadado Chowdhury is buying the Chevron station over on Highway 1757, Highway 53 West. And that establishment has a license now to sell beer only.
Okay.
And he wants to get a license to sell beer only also. And he has made application, they're checking his fingerprints now, he's running his ads in the paper, and he also has his signs that he have made, put up in his store. And I would just like permission to continue that license.
Motion to continue the advertising and progression of the alcohol license.
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
Motion second, discussion. Being all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, council. Thank you, son. Okay, under mayor's report, finance report, Lisa.
In your packet, you should have a financial report for the month of March. We're 25% into our calendar year, and we are under budget in all departments as of this date. In the general fund, we received local option sales tax, $85,157 year to date, $291,994 compared to last year, $82,219 current month, $275,329 year to date. In our SPLOST account, we received $66,250 $252.01. Year-to-date, $310,028.56. Our balance, our SPOS balance, and I have included in your packet what we've received every month this year. You can look at that later if you want, but it's the balance in the cash account is $680,364 as of the end of the month.
Say that again, Mr.
$680,364. Water and sewer fund, we're at or close to budget. Our municipal court looks really low right now on the fines, and I think a lot of them haven't been posted. I'm gonna check into that soon and see why it's so far below budget at this time. But that's all I had to go over.
Questions, council? Item B, Lonnie, roads and other reports.
Mayor and council. Met with the roads meeting this morning, and I had also been in touch, trying to get in touch with Mr. Walter from the DOT about the turning lane at Holly Street. He did return my call this morning and said that he didn't know why the contractor had not already started that. He's trying to find out, and he'll report back to us just as quick as he gets an answer.
Who is the contractor?
I don't know, he can say. But he said he would be getting back in touch with us very soon. The DOT man that was at the meeting said that the process for the mass arms, the red lights, is moving forward. They should be getting on that pretty soon. As far as what we call the big project, I received a phone call from a gentleman that's with a locating company in Atlanta. DOT has got them to come up. He's coming up Wednesday to meet. He wants to go over our utility maps and get some ideas. And then he wants to go out maybe for an hour or so and look at the road between here and 515, from Main Street to 515. And they will be starting locates of all the utilities. And then there'll be discussions between the city and the state as far as moving those utilities. And so that's about it right there.
Lonnie, you may want to mention about the possibility of state grants for that.
There is a fund set up through the DOT that is a utilities aid grant that I'm getting information on, and that will help us. We'll be applying for that when it comes time to move all these utilities and relocate them. And so the DOT and CARS was really working to help us with that. So when we get more information, we get closer to it, then we can start looking at doing the paperwork.
A lot of the roads that you have listed for the bid letting,
Yes.
what are they?
Okay. It's everything from the railroad track to Dixie Street. They would be East Spring Street, Wall Street, Southeast Street, Northeast Street, Depot Street, Mark Whitfield Street, Dixie Street, D.B. Carroll, Stegall down to Dixie, Appalachian Trail, J.L. White, the part in front of the medical buildings, and Richard Street.
Main Central Business District Plus.
Yes.
Jim and council and public, I formed a committee, a little-known committee, when we first got the SPLOS passed, made up myself, Lonnie, Miss Hoyle, and Lindsay. And we meet to go over this, and so that we can be an alibi for each other, because we're dealing with so much money and so much potential mistrust. We're dealing with this many bidders and contractors, etc., to keep everybody in the open, transparency. Jim, we're officially inviting you to stand and sit in on that committee. You can call me and I'll show up for that meeting. And I'd like to be part of that to help keep everybody in the clear, because we're dealing with, when you're sitting here with 4, 5, 6 contractors, sometimes they're not real happy. They act like they're happy when they leave, but you can tell they put a lot of time and effort into their bid process. And we would like to, and I'd like for all 4 of us to always be at those bid openings. Thank you. I just want to make mention of that. That's what we do.
Yes.
Thank you. Chief Love.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Jasper Police Department for the month of March responded to 957 calls from the 911 center, responding to 43 motor vehicle accidents. Issued a total of 78 citations, following 61 speeding, 2 seatbelt, 0 child restraint, 1 shoplifting, 13 miscellaneous, 1 suspended or revoked. Georgia State Patrol issued a total of 66 for a grand total of City Court of 144 citations. We took out 28 state warrants for the following: 2 for aggravated assault, 1 for possession of methamphetamine, 1 fleeing and attempting to elude officer, felony, 2 obstructions, 13 traffic offenses, 1 felony shoplifting, 1 battery, 1 simple battery, 1 driving on suspended license, theft by taking felony, possession of a controlled substance felony, cruelty to children in the 3rd degree, battery, family violence, and 1 misdemeanor shoplifting. Miscellaneous calls answered were 40 alarm calls, 20 disorderly, 8 harassments, 7 trespassing or loitering, 83 suspicious activity calls, and 21 domestic disputes, and investigated 0 burglaries.
Good job. Questions, council?
Thank you.
Chief Rowe.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Thank you very much. I am proud of Mayor now. City's fire department responded to 117 emergencies in March. Those were, I know you love it. No structure fires inside the city, 2 outside. No vehicle fires in, 1 outside. 3 grass or brush fires inside, 4 outside the city. 5 motor vehicle accidents with injuries inside, 1 outside. 54 emergency medical responses in, 29 out. 10 other calls in, 8 out. As of the end of the month, it's 379 calls. Fire inspection looked at 1 set of plans and conducted 14 inspections. Also, bring the council up to speed, we have made changes to the burn permit issuing. Georgia Forestry is now issuing for the city as well, like we do for the county. What that's done for the public, streamline the process of getting a permit. They issue over the phone and online.
What's their number, Steve?
It is 1-877.
Say that real slow to the camera.
1-877 OK to burn. And I don't have a clue
What kind of number is that?
It's the acronym they use. I don't have a clue. I can look on my phone and see what that number is, but it's 1-877 OK to burn.
And when is the burn restrictions going to be in place?
That'll be May 1st. When that, now JFD is still responsible for enforcing all state level burn, control burn ban. We still enforce all that, but we are no longer issuing the permits. Georgia Forestry is. And
I already have a permit. Do I need to reapply or just,
if you've got one with me, yes, sir, then you need to call the forestry. And it's a very simple process. It takes about 2 minutes on the phone.
Gotcha.
They issue a permit number, which is actually the number you call from, or whatever number you choose. We've had nothing but great response from the public. We had one lady come by to get a permit. We explained to her the changes, and her exact words were, "Thank God, I'm tired of coming by here to get a permit."
Well, they also restrict them if conditions are bad,
She
right?
better be careful what she's asking for. Local government's nothing like it.
I know, and that's all.
When they turn her down, she'll not feel that good.
No, exactly.
She can't complain, she can't complain to you.
Depending on humidity and wind conditions and stuff, there's always a chance you're gonna get turned down.
Okay, thank you. There's no other business, entertain a motion.